Hello, this is Josh.
Hi, Josh. This is Steve Jewin from MMA Mania. How are you today?
Good, man. I apologize about that.
Oh, hey, no problem. I figured you were hitting mitts with Trevor Whitman right now.
Man, we just got done with our Jujitsu class. It usually goes 11 to 12. But it took me a little longer today, so I apologize.
That's all right. Since you already brought it up, how is that part of your training coming along, and how's the training for the fight in general?
Man, honestly, both are great. So that's I've been having a great camp, and this is it's the best I've felt, and yeah, I'm ready to go.
Well, let me start with this, since I know people are going to ask me if I don't ask you. Cuddly Bear. It's a very friendly name for a very ferocious fighter. How'd you get that name?
Man, I actually got it with Trevor. We were heading back from wrestling. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago. Heading back from wrestling, and he told me, he's like, man, we got to get you a nickname. And I told him, I'm like, well, every time I grapple with Alvin Robinson, he always calls me the Bear. And I told him that I didn't really like the Bear, just because it sounded a little too mean. I'm more like a cuddly bear. And Trevor just started laughing, and he's like, dude, that's perfect. That's it, Cuddly Bear. So I just kind of stuck since then.
Well, nothing looked cuddly about that fight with Mike Hayes. I thought for 3 straight rounds you were beating something unmerciful out of him, and unfortunately he's one of the hardest guys in the business to knock out. He just wouldn't go down. Man,
it was almost I could he did a great job of pulling away just at the right time. I kept trying to you get the best knockouts when they come forward and you can step forward and crack them, but I kept trying to time that, but he kept pulling away right at the last time I'd connect, but it'd never be the full-on head-on-head collision, you know?
You can't be too disappointed, since World Series Fighting was so impressed by that performance, they gave you this title shot as a response.
Man, absolutely. You know, originally Ray Sefo just called me to see if I'd fight on the card, and against Chris Barnett, and someone's car alarm's going off.
Oh yeah, I can hear it.
Yes, sorry about that.
That's all right.
I stepped outside so that we could have some peace and quiet, but that's not so much quiet. Oh dang, I forgot what we were chatting about.
Oh, just getting the fight with Blagoy Ivanov, how they announced it to you.
Oh yeah. So Ray called me and asked me if I'd fight Chris Barnett, and he said the winner of that would be would get a title shot, and I'm like, you know, I told him let's do it, and he said he was gonna write up some numbers. He'll get back with me later on, and he wound up calling me the next day and told me that it's been a crazy 24 hours, and apparently their number one contender pulled out, and and he's like, man, any chance he'd be interested in fighting for the title? And I'm like, man, let's do it. So can't pass that up.
No, you can't. I got to ask you, with Ivanov's impressive record, he's 13-1 so far, and he came back from a medically induced coma. So how do you beat a guy that's already beaten the Grim Reaper?
Dude, you hit him hard and repeatedly. You know, it's I don't know. I'm a firm believer him and I both hit too hard to go to a decision, but I don't know. It is what it is, you know. I don't know. I'm gonna go out there. I'm about 20 pounds lighter than I was for that Mike Hayes fight, and I mean, honestly, just with my style, I think I'll be a tough matchup, just using footwork and movement, and not standing in front of him for him to land a straight left, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. I'm approaching this fight like any other fight, just go out there and move, use footwork, angles, and try to capitalize on their mistakes, you know.
If you're working on the jiu-jitsu and it's coming along really good, that might be your road to victory, because it's the only thing that has managed to catch Ivanov so far is a rear naked choke.
Yeah, that's also against Volkov, who's 6'6" and crazy long legs, arms, everything, you know. So, man, that's I'm I don't know. Either way, I'll take it however way I can get it, you know.
Since you've got 3 out of 4 wins, what do you take away from the one fight that didn't go your way, which is another Russian, Vitaly Minikov?
Man, Vitaly's he's good, man. He's really good. You know, that was a last minute fight. You know, I will. I don't know. Vitaly's a stud. You know, there's for me there's I don't know. There's no shame in losing to a guy that, you know, nobody's been able to beat yet, and he's relentless, you know. So I don't know. I definitely had small victories in that also, though. You know, he's a 4-time world Sambo champ, and I was able to get out of 2 submissions and get back to my feet twice. You know, there was a few small victories in there for me, you know.
A victory in itself, as a lot of people saw that fight on Fight Pass, which struck some people as odd. Like, here's the Bellator champion on Fight Pass, and he's fighting a guy that we know from UFC, because you'd been in UFC before that, so people are looking at that like going, why isn't he coming back to Bellator to defend his title?
Yeah, and apparently, after he beat Czech Congo, he went back to Russia, and from my understanding, he's had some visa problems, so he wasn't able to come back to the States to fight for Bellator. So, and like any fighter, if you're not fighting, you're not making money, you know. So apparently Bellator just told him that he can do what he needs to do until he gets the visa thing figured out, you know.
What was your travel like going over there to fight him? How'd that go?
Man, it was awesome. I can honestly say Russia was never on my bucket list, and not even a place that I wanted to go, but I'm the type of person that I like different cultures, and I want to, you know, definitely like to experience different things. And I mean, man, just being over there, Russia was, or at least Moscow, was amazing. So I'd say the guy driving us around, he said that with all of the unregistered people that live in Moscow, that they guesstimate that there's 20 million people that live there.
Wow.
And he said that with 20 million people, and I was there for 8 days, and I honestly probably saw maybe 5 pieces of trash on the ground. You know, it was extremely clean, you know, and fighting with Vitaly, you know, one of the best fighters in Russia. Even when they announced my name to come out to the cage, not one person booed me, which I thought was extremely awesome. You know, their fans are very respectful, you know, and they actually treat athletes like celebrities, you know. And it was kind of different for me. People didn't know how to approach me or talk to me or ask me for autographs or photos and this and that, and I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, well, what about the food? How did you like the cuisine while you were there? Man,
I'm a heavyweight for a reason, because I'm really not that picky, and I like whatever, you know. So the owner of the promotion actually took us out on our last day there. Took us to the Red Square, and I got to see the Kremlin, and took us to a restaurant to have real Russian food and drinks and all that stuff, you know. And it was actually really cool. I enjoyed it all.
Now, I've watched a couple of travel shows, and this may be exaggerated for the camera, but it sure seems like on the ones I've watched, they give you vodka with every meal and between every course. Yeah,
they had vodka, but it wasn't I would honestly say it wasn't as shocking as, and too, man, it's all in the places that you go. You know, they took us to a more high-end place, and you know, they were, I don't know, the place that we went, it wasn't more about that, but I don't know, it was definitely more about the food. But I can't speak for other places, you know. Maybe the restaurant right next door was more like that, you know. So
all right, well, it doesn't even matter, because like you said, you can eat well since you're a heavyweight, so even if they were serving it, it wouldn't probably affect you too much.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I know you said you're down 20 pounds, but how much are you trying to get down? What weight do you want to be at for this fight?
Man, honestly, I'm not even trying to get down. I got a been chatting with a nutritionist, and I got a company, Pro Meal Prep, making my food for me. And to be honest, I'm eating more than I had been before. Just eating the right things and eating clean, and it's crazy how the weight just keeps coming off, even though I'm taking in, well over 4,000 calories a day.
Well, if you're training hard and eating the right things, of course it'll come off. As long as you avoid like carbs and sugars and things like that, it'll go quick.
Oh man, I'll tell you a little story. Last Saturday, I was 249, and then I went to training, and after training, I went to Costco, and I passed the beef jerky aisle, and I saw this perky jerky that they had there. So it's turkey jerky, and mouth started watering. I'm like, hey, let's get some of that. Good protein. Being a heavyweight and a glutton, man, I ate the entire thing on my drive home, and it was 350 milligrams of sodium times 14 servings. So I had over 5,000 milligrams of sodium.
Wow.
And yeah, my weight went. I was 249, and then Sunday I was 260. Monday I was 263, and this entire time I'm still continuing to eat right. Everything I'm eating, just eating clean. Just that one sodium overload shot me up to 263 on Monday, and then Tuesday it went to 257. Yesterday, Wednesday, I was 253. Yeah, and then today I was back down to 250, and I'm like, holy cow! It's taken 5 days from that one just sodium overload. So I thought that was a crazy story.
Well, it sounds like at the end of all this, you could teach a class on nutrition and diet for fighters.
Holy cow! Yeah, stay away from sodium the week of your fight. I'll say that.
Amen. So, what do you think about all these recent changes in weigh-ins and weigh-in procedures? Anyway, California in particular, we saw that within the last week. They get really picky now, and they're even letting fighters weigh in earlier so they can get back to weight in time.
Man, I honestly don't know what to think. I think that's partial to me being a heavyweight, and I really haven't had to worry about making weight, or having to cut like these other guys do. I mean, it's definitely healthier, but I don't know if it's necessarily as fair. I don't know. I know the whole talk when they're last year, or it might have been earlier this year, about the whole IVs and not letting guys rehydrate, and this and that. And I don't know. I honestly don't know what's best. That's definitely out of my realm, and I don't even follow that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's out of my realm too, because I'm not a fighter, so I don't have to worry about tipping the scale. But I know it affects a lot of people. In fact, I saw Vanderlei Silva just today complaining about the fact that IVs are banned, and he thinks it actually makes the sport less safe as opposed to more. No, I agree. I agree with that, and I mean, I've heard a lot of guys say, "Well, shoot, let's do same day weigh-ins." I mean, that's you want guys to definitely fight more true to their weight. Yeah, do same day weigh-ins, because now they gotta not just worry about their weight, but they have to worry about performing also. They don't have full 24 hours to recover. But I honestly think that would be a lot safer. Guys wouldn't be cutting as much weight trying to get, they wouldn't be trying to drop 20 pounds. They'd be trying to stay smart, drop maybe 10 pounds, so that they could still be able to go out and perform that day without having that crazy, strenuous, whatever weight cutting does to your body, Right.
Your brain.
Right. Yeah, drawing all that water out. Go ahead.
Yeah, and back to it. That's not my realm. I haven't done much research on it, so I really don't have much of a say on it, you know.
And you've been very successful at heavyweight. We've seen other guys make that transition from heavyweight to light heavyweight and be successful at it, like Daniel Cormier. He was just creaming people when he was at heavyweight and finally got down to 205 and became a world champion. And obviously you can become a world champion against Blagoy Ivanov. Any thoughts of ever trying to make light heavyweight at some point?
We'll see. I mean, that's to be honest with you, like just knowing me and my style, like I think I honestly think that light heavyweight's probably the scariest division. You know, it's not, I mean, you got guys at light heavyweight that are not just big, but they're strong, they're athletic, they have cardio, they have technique, you know, they're explosive. Or I mean, for the most part, you know, I'd almost say 90% of heavyweights are just big guys that don't have cardio, that don't have footwork and angles, and they just hope theirs lands first, you know. And then you get to the very elite guys, you know, that actually do move and have angles and technique, you know. But I almost feel like that's what separates me from the rest of the heavyweight guys, you know, is I like to move and use angles, footwork, and be able to set shots up, you know, off of my footwork and angles, you know. So I think that separates me, you know. But if I dropped light heavyweight, then now I'm going against guys that, you know, do all that, plus they have cardio and stamina. Yeah, just they hit hard, and I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. And one other thing that occurred to me while you were saying that is that you also get these really freakishly big guys that fight at light heavyweight. The guys like John Jones and Liam McGeary, who are like 6'6" and an 84-inch reach. It's like, how do you even deal with that, whether you're a light heavyweight or a heavyweight? That's, you know, there's just some freak guys out there.
Man, that's the truth. It is.
So heavyweight's definitely the place to be, and your footwork and punching power can keep you in competition at the heavyweight ranks. So I guess the one thing that you mentioned that I haven't asked is cardio, because you said you go and train for cardio and you can have something that other heavyweights don't, because we see some gas out in fights. So I assume that means you're prepared for 5 rounds if it comes to that.
But man, that's and also that's another reason I wanted to get my diet right too, you know. It's if I can, even if losing 20 pounds will allow me to move and use angles for another minute, 2 minutes, you know, that's I don't know, that's an extra 15% of the fight, you know, that I can move just because I cut 20 pounds off, you know. And that's just me guessing, you know. I feel like I move better and I'm quicker, but that's yeah, you lose weight, you're easier to get taken down, you don't have as much power, but you know, you make up for it, you know, with speed and a little more agility, you know. So it's always a push pull, and I mean, that's, yeah, I'm definitely training for 5 rounds, but it's always one thing to train your butt off and say what you're trying to do, and then you get out there and I don't know, reality hits you and you start feeling that gas tank shrink, you know. That's a scary thing too, you know.
Well, I hope it doesn't shrink then in the fight with Blagoy Ivanov, and it doesn't sound like you're doing anything in training that would cause it to. So in a little over a week's time, we're going to get to see that fight, World Series of Fighting 31. So I know you've got to be excited about making that trip out to Mashantucket.
Yeah, I can't wait.
What day do you fly out?
They're flying me out on Tuesday.
You'll have a little time to get used to the jet lag, adjust to the different time zone, and be all set to go.
That's right, man. I'm excited. I can't wait.
It's going to be live on NBC Sports, the main event. But don't be cuddly with him. I know that's your nickname, but be a little more of a grizzly in there, because that's what we want to see. Heck
yeah, that's always the game plan, man. I go in there and I'm every punch I throw, I'm trying to knock them out, you know. But afterwards, can be best friends and do whatever, you know. So, but I love to compete.
And we love to see you compete. So best of luck in the fight next week, and we'll all be watching right here on MMA Mania. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.